Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Najwa Natasha binti Abdul Rahman. My metric number is 2020-614-944. So today I want to present my Lab 1 assignment for FIN534. So there is the data for bicycle inventory. There is the ID, product category, product name, purchase cost, selling price, supplier, quantity on hand, also total selling price. For the question 1, 1A, I use the min function for the smallest amount of purchase cost and the table arrange I took from the data sheet E4 to E27, which is the purchase cost column. For the largest amount of selling price, I use the max function. For the total amount of selling price for all product, I use sum function. I use count function for the number of bicycle inventory. For the average inventory on hand, I use average function. For the number of purchase cost less than 100, I use count if function. Also, I use count if function for the number of suppliers supply bicycle for children. For the 1B, expensive if the selling price is more than 150 and cheaper otherwise. So for this question, I use if function, which is the table arrange. I take from the data sheet F4 to F4 because the selling price is F4, and at the table arrange also we need to insert the more than symbol and 150 because at the question is expensive if the selling price is more than 150. The true part is expensive and the false part is cheaper. And then it will appear like this. For the 105 ringgit 41 cents is cheaper than 150 ringgit. Then we just drag this symbol at symbol this T symbol, just drag it until here. Then it will appear like this. The result is like this. Okay. For the 1C, customer ID is 20, and for the product category, product name, also supplier, I use VLOOKUP function, which is the first one. I took this customer ID with 43. For the table arrange, I took from the data sheet from here to here. I select all the data. Then the number is 2 because the product category is the on the second column of data sheet. For this product name and supplier, I insert 3 and 6 for the numbers because the product name on the data sheet is at the third column and the supplier is at the sixth column. For the question 2, I create a pivot table, which is I just click here, insert pivot chart. For the easiest way, we just click the pivot chart and pivot table. Then we need, when this table creative pivot table appear, we just drag from here to here. For the table arrange, then click OK. It will appear like this. So this is the pivot table, this is the pivot chart. For the question 3, 3A, for the mean of purchase cost and selling price, I use average function, and the table range I took from the data sheet. For the variance, I use variance function. For the standard deviation, I use stdev.s function. Coefficient variation, I use the formula is standard deviation divided by average and times with 100, which is the standard deviation and average will appear here. So I took that formula from here. Okay. For the 3B, based on the coefficient version, which variable has the least and the greatest dispersion? Okay. For the question 1B, for the coefficient version, is the ratio of the standard deviation, the higher the coefficient of variation, the greater the level of dispersion around the mean. So here, as we can see, the greater coefficient variation is purchase cost. So the purchase cost is the greater of coefficient variation, which is the dispersion around the mean also greater because of the higher of coefficient variation. For the 1C, coefficient of skewness for purchase cost and selling price, I use the skew function, and the coefficient of kurtosis, I use kurt function. For the comment of coefficient of skewness, the value is positive means the distribution positively skewed, which is as we can see here, the amount is positive. For the coefficient of kurtosis, the value is less than -1, which means the distribution too flat. As you can see, this is the -1, -1 value, and the distribution is flat. For the z-score, this is the z-score formula. I use standardized formula, and it will appear like this. For the z table, I use norm this function, which is I take from this C4, then I insert the mean and also the standard deviation, and the last one is true. I use the absolute sales reference to drag the answer until down. So we doesn't have to no need to do the answer one by one because we use the absolute sales reference. For the outlier is I use if function, which is the the table range I took this therefore more than 3, and the true one is yes and the false one is no. So the result is all no because the z-score formula is all less than 3. So this is the graph, data bicycle z-score graph. I use the scatter with straight line markers chart for this graph. For descriptive statistic, there is the purchase cost, selling price, quantity on hand, also total selling price. For descriptive statistic, I just to add the data sheet, then we click the data column, and then data analysis, descriptive statistic, then we click OK. Then the input arrange, we just select from here to here. Make sure it's a column, new worksheet line, and the summary statistic. Then click OK. After click OK, it will appear like this, and the result is like this. So that's all from me today. Thank you.